and Cassar. Well, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Just As Planned podcast show, where we explore the stories behind the vendors that make weddings truly amazing. Now, I'm your host, as always, Nathan Cassar, and today we have a floral powerhouse joining us, Clare Lamata, the creative genius behind Bella Fiore Floral Designs. Now, Claire's journey into the world of floristry started in 1998. I was in kindergarten then, as a hobby that would eventually grow into a multi-award winning business. Taught by none other than the mother of the Blue Wiggles, Mary Field. It's really cool. Claire's love for flowers blossomed into a career that has now seen her design thousands of weddings from the North Coast to Wollongong, with a focus on creating stunning, tailored designs that perfectly complement each couple's vision. Not only has Claire's business become a go-to name in Sydney's wedding industry, but she has also worked at major events like the Sydney 2000 Olympics, where she had the honor of telling the head of the IOC, Juan Antonio Samaranch, what to do during the medal ceremonies, which I think is just incredible to tell someone of that caliber what to do. From brushing sand off volleyball gold medalists to navigating the behind-the-scenes chaos of wedding day dramas, Claire's experience is unparalleled. In today's episode, Claire is going to take us behind the curtain of her floral world. We'll be talking about everything from funny wedding stories, how to save money on flowers and styling, to the power of repurposing ceremony flowers for the reception. She'll also share her insights on running a successful business as a sole trader, a mum of two, while managing the often overlooked challenges of anxiety in business ownership, something we've not talked about on this entire season so far. Get ready for a heartfelt and fun conversation as Claire gives us the inside scoop of the life of a wedding florist. Claire, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. How are you going? Lovely to be here.
Of course, I'm doing very well, thank you. It's such a pleasure to have you on the show, and of course, I've personally seen your work before, and we're not too far from one another in terms of where we're based.
No,
And what's lovely is that I know that that story that I mentioned in the intro really does weave like such a wonderful journey of people just thinking that florists, they just make pretty bouquets and sit down and don't worry about anything else in life, but yet you have really truly shown that something as humble as piecing flowers together in arrangements can really become something that makes you an icon in the industry. Tell us a little bit more about that sort of foray into the Sydney Olympics.
Yeah, so I was doing a associate diploma of events management at TAFE New South Wales. Plug for TAFE New South Wales. Is an excellent course, and we had to do work experience, and one of the teachers said, well, does anybody want to volunteer for the Sydney 2000 Olympics? And I said, oh, yeah, no, thinking it would be, standing at the bus stop, handing out flyers or whatever. And then she was given some, flyers about medal ceremonies. And Nathan, it's hilarious. You're in life, you're the person who's the worker bee or you're the beautiful one. And so I applied to be the beautiful one, got knocked back. So I could have had 25 years ago, I could have had my level of fame on TV. You're actually seeing me with the medals, but no, I missed out on that position and I got the supervisor, the higher position, but it was hilarious because so I kept the whole time I kept saying to the beautiful ladies, hey, you're lucky to get that job. I missed out on that. Because they're in front of the cameras and everything. So, but yeah, it was amazing. And I look back now and like I got to meet the American Dream Team at the time, like basketball team, and I pretty much had to tell them what to do because you've got so many protocols. You had to look after all the flag people as well with all the different flags from all the different countries, and you can't stuff them up because it's international protocol. And then telling all the Juan Antonio Samaranch and all the IOC people, okay, so with the medal ceremony, you'll walk out here, you'll move to the left, you'll move to the right. This is what you have to say. This is what you have to, and pretty much direct what they had to do. And it was an incredible experience. And I then got asked if I wanted to go to the next Olympics, which at that time, showing my age, was 2004 Athens Olympics. But then you think then it was such a big deal to then have to move to another country to be part of the Olympic movement of because a lot of the team just go from one country to the next,
Yeah.
helping to organise the Olympics. So it was absolutely incredible. And then you look back now, and my poor children, every time we go to Homebush, I make them go and find me on the stick.
Oh, brilliant.
Sticks outside Accor Stadium, and they have to go and find me.
There'll be one day where they're just like, "No, Mum, we're not doing this game again." Like it was great the first 100 times when we were 4,
Or
but
they'll go
now
and
no.
scratch it off. They're like, "Oh, get rid of this woman
Oh,
quickly."
brilliant! Yeah, just silently cancel you for future
Yeah, that's right.
generations. Yeah. Well, that's amazing. I mean, look, I'm going to be honest with you. My memories of Sydney 2000 Olympics was, I've got this wonderful, vivid memory of a photo that I had taken of me where my grandmother encouraged me to hold, the typical one where we pretended to hold the
Oh, yes,
the flame that you could see at the top of the stadium. I remember that vividly, and then
that's
also
great.
the flame came, the torch came past our house, like our housing estate. So I remember the rare opportunity when my mum actually didn't encourage us to go to school on time. Said, "Okay, I'll take you in late because it's coming through." So,
That's very cool.
but it's I've got wonderful friends who talk about their experience in that, and it's just so emblematic of the hard work that goes obviously into the protocol and the standards and the sense of style and design and everything, the elevated experience that obviously goes into something as profound as the Olympics sort of scenario and ceremonies. I guess in some way it's on a smaller scale, I guess, but it's still a very much emblematic and an allegory of the work that goes into a wedding, right? Like you must have felt so prepared, sort of later in your life when you're building this wonderful wedding career, going, you know what, if I could survive IOC protocol, I think I can survive a wedding.
Definitely. And I think that's what sets a lot of florists apart from each other. Is it's not just about the flowers. If I go to Curzon Hall and I see, or any venue, and you see something's missing, you'll go and say, "Oh, have you got that?" Or "Is this person here?" And you'll coordinate with other vendors, and you're a family. Like you may have met that person for 2 minutes, but collectively you're a virtual team that needs to get this done for the bride and the groom, and it needs to look spectacular. So like I've been at venues where the date's been wrong on the dance floor and they haven't picked up on it. Okay, let's fix it. You know what I mean? Like, let's fix it because the bride's coming in 2 hours and they're getting married today, not yesterday. Like,
yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
I sympathize with that a lot. I mean, even the small things.
You'd see it
Absolutely. I came into one wedding where they had a fake cake, and I wasn't informed it was a fake cake. That's fine. I got there and I could figure out quickly. Although I did do a couple of glances at the cake, going, that cake doesn't seem. Okay, yep, I figured out it's fake. And I got closer, and it just was. What was the shocking thing about it was and you'd appreciate this because you obviously do a lot of cake adornments as well, was that even if they are fake, you would still adorn them if the couple wanted them. And like I noticed at the base, it was dirty. It had obviously been left in a warehouse, hadn't been obviously, it wasn't a fast moving item that they'd obviously had. And what was most like profound to me, apart from obviously the shock of that, was okay, I'm the one that's going to get sort of the nasty glares when I move that couple up to do their cake cutting, cake cutting, and they would look down and they would see where I'm directly going to say, point here, like this is where you pretend to cut. They're going to see all of that. And it's not about self-preservation. It's about, as you say correctly, it's about making sure that we're all working together and we save face for everybody. And we also collaborate. And if there's something just been missed, we all just make it happen. And I think that, as you said, that's a level of distinction that couples can really, truly appreciate once they get to know people like you and I and understand who the person is, rather than going, well, her flowers cost $1,000 versus that person costs $899. We'll just go for the $899 kind of thing. So
definitely. And it's asking the right questions when you have that initial consultation that you may not, because you don't know if you don't know. So asking the question of, if you've got an outdoor ceremony on a cliff, is your florist going to stand there and mind the arch so it doesn't blow off into the Pacific Ocean? Because a lot of people, for staffing reasons, they set it up at 1:30 for a 3:00 wedding, and then they can't stay. So it's that conversation of, what's going to happen if it's high wind? What's your backup plan? Is one of your staff available to stand there? Which we always do, because we don't want anything to happen to our arch, or something to blow away or tip over or whatever, so that you've got that security that you don't have to worry about it. You're the bride and the groom. We
Yeah,
won't
no,
put
absolutely. No, of
food as
course.
well. But yeah, so
'Cause
it's your day, and you want
mm,
the least amount of stress as possible. And you'll always run late. We had one a couple of weeks ago where it was at Maroubra Beach up the top, and they were half an hour
mm,
late, and that's fine because we were there standing there, and you end up talking to the guests, you end up holding the dog during photos, like
mm,
you've got that extra customer service, and
mm,
the bride and the groom didn't have to worry about anything. They knew the arch was going to be stable. They knew someone wasn't going to put a picnic rug in the middle of their aisleway, and that everything was going to be perfect when the bride arrived, and then she walked down
mm,
the aisle. So
mm.
yeah, I think that's where you forget, because you just think, oh well, the ceremony's at 3 o'clock and the reception's at 5. But it's the in between questions that I'd encourage bride and grooms to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because that's what gives you a lot of information about what's actually going to happen during the experience of the ceremony and the experience of the reception, and not be stressful for you.
No, I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. I mean, a lot of I'm in similar in the sense people ask me a lot about. So when do you arrive and what's your service starting time? And me personally, speaking for myself, I insist on arriving if it's on site. I arrive there on ceremony, and I'm just in the background. The celebrants their show, but essentially the main point of that is two reasons. One, I want them to know that I'm there, but then also as soon as ceremony is complete, that handover between myself and the celebrant is physical and it's right in front of us, and then the guests are then taken care of and I can entertain them, and I can do all those kind of things. And I think it's really just what it says about a vendor like yourself in terms of that extra care that goes into making sure there's finer details, even if they're not specifically related to anything to do with putting a bouquet down or making sure that the right flowers are being chosen, etc. It's also about those extra finer details of who are you picking on the day who are going to actually really care about everything around them, that they're aware. I always say this, that my job starts from the car park. It doesn't
Yes.
start from when I decide to get on the microphone. Literally, if I sitting in there, as I'm sure you would too, if you're sitting there and you're all mopey in the car or something, and someone says, "Oh, you look like you work here or something. Can you help me?" And you're like, "No, no, no, not my job."
Yeah.
You've just created a touch point that it's a downer for the night. So it's
Definitely.
it's encouraging, and I mean, I know you're high quality in what you do, but it's encouraging to hear that that extra level of detail is there. Now, speaking of the P word, price. It's become such a controversial word in our industry right now. Not because we need to
Yes.
increase our prices so we can go on gold laden yachts or things like that, because we need to survive. Obviously,
You don't have one?
oh no, unfortunately not. No, mine's on back order, so I'll
No,
get it and I'll pay it off in 200 years. But you were one of the first florists in Sydney to repurpose ceremony flowers for the reception, which now when I see it constantly, I think it's almost like a bit of a given that it
It is.
happens.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So how does it work? And if for couples, like sort of breaking it down for couples that have never thought about that, because all these concepts seem rote to us, but not normal to them. How can couples use this strategy to save costs without sacrificing beauty?
Yeah, so at the moment, the trend is to have fresh flowers for your bouquets, and for the buttonholes and corsages, and then for all your reception and your ceremony flowers, to have them artificial. And we're lucky now; we're very, very lucky that artificial flowers are very lifelike.
Mm,
So I've had many people where I've given them samples so that they can see that you can't actually tell, and so that they can then go. And that's the other thing we do: we give you samples before the wedding day,
mm.
so you can go and show your mum, show your mother-in-law what the samples of the artificial flowers will look like. Because most people, when you say artificial flowers, they're thinking of the 80s.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The little, the ones at the restaurant where you're just like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. But now
Oh,
they've come.
those fake Hawaiian lays kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so yeah, so they're really high quality now. And so a lot of people, like when you're talking to your florist, ask them, can the florist, and some people will do it complimentary, like so for free, and other people will do it for a moving price, where they will move the ceremony flowers to the reception. And we started it off because we were getting people that's like, this is my inspiration photo, but I can't afford anything like that. And I would say to them, you're at your ceremony for half an hour, 40 minutes.
Mm,
Would you consider us moving your florals to the bridal table, because they're still flat if you think of them, like they're flat on the arch and then they're flat on the table. Or if you've got a fireplace, to put them behind you on a fireplace mantle, or go now the trend is even to use them as centerpieces. And so I've got a couple of weddings coming up this year where they haven't paid anything for their reception flowers. All their reception flowers have come from the ceremony. And you look at the bride and grooms coming through now, that they are aware of sustainability. They're aware of costs. They recognize they're going on their honeymoon, so they will never see the fresh flowers if they do get them as centerpieces and ceremony. We look at the weather, and particularly in Sydney, where it can be sunny in the morning and then can be thunderstorms in the afternoon. If you have artificial flowers for your ceremony, you don't have to worry about the weather at all. You know that they're going to look the same at 10 o'clock in the morning as they did at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so that's where I think it's like a common sense approach has come in. If you can have artificial flowers for the ceremony, people are doing that because they see the cost benefit. And you know what? It might be a cost benefit of $1,000 that you can reuse somewhere else in your wedding. You can you can go, oh, I've now got $1,000 for fireworks, or $1,000 towards the the fancy floor, the dance floor. And all the other extras, like the social media people or the videographer. So they can really see the cost benefit of recycling your flowers from ceremony to reception, and not only the cost, but the sustainability.
I'm going to be honest, most people won't realize, because you're right, 100%. It is like so lifelike these days. But to be perfectly frank, without taking away from the beauty of it, like it's not something that people are specifically walking into the room, every single guest, and like going 2 centimeters in front of each flower and going like some sort of like Sherlock Holmes magnifying glass sort of scenario. Like that's not how human beings are sort of taking in that space. It's part of the ambiency that you're creating that is all just meant to like visually appeal. You're looking around, it's like if things feel right, that's what you're going for. I mean, I know vibe is kind of an overused word right now, but I still think it's relevant. It's that vibe that you're creating in the space, but you don't need it to be like, oh, people are going to judge whether or not it's silk or not. It's like, no one cares. I'm sorry, no one cares.
No, they don't. And the other thing that I say to the couples that I talk to is that there's no crime with doing half. So if you really have your heart set on like natives, and you like fresh natives because they also bring a fragrance to the room, then you can have, even the centerpieces can be fresh, but you can have if you want the amazing bridal table that you see in some of the bigger venues where it's all across the top and it's all cascading down the front, then you can have that. And still, you're not going to get people going, oh, well, she's got fresh flowers on the tables and she's got artificial on the bridal table, and gasp. Because we can match them, you know what I mean? Because there is such, you can match them so well now. Like even native, people are quite stunned with how lifelike native Australian natives are now, with all the, the wattle and the gum, how lifelike that looks as well. So they've come such a long way in the artificial floral space, and because you are renting all the artificial flowers, that's cheaper as well. So like you've got that, you don't have the expense of the fresh flowers, but you've still got the beauty of them. So I think that's why they've become so popular. People want the magnificent wedding to look at, but you don't want necessarily the cost of $50,000 of flowers when you're going on a honeymoon 3 days after the wedding. You're never going to see those fresh flowers again if you went all fresh flowers. So but absolutely, it's quite a shift of people's thinking, because like 10 years ago, if you had said artificial flowers, people would have punched you.
So true. I know, right? Like it seemed like but even today, I still feel like it can be somewhat of like a swear word. No, as you're right, nowhere near as it used to be. And I think it's just about shifting those. So these kind of conversations are fantastic. And hopefully, those listening right now are beginning to feel that sort of that idea of, just even if they're so against it, just Google it. Just take your moment, Google it, go see some Pinterest boards. And I know the hand of the heart.
Ask for samples as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Not everybody's using the same quality of artificial flowers for various reasons. So if you are worried that they're going to look, too white, or they're going to look too artificial, then you can get more greenery put into them. So then they will take more of a natural look, but also ask for samples, because it's no trouble. Most of the florists that are now doing fresh and artificial, they have a warehouse, or they have some sort of storage facility that they can drop over to your house. Not the storage facility, of course, the florals. They can drop the flowers over to you so that you can then keep it for a week, and then, show, as I said before, show your mum, your groom, your mother-in-law, to see that they all like it. And then they can decide what they want to do. But I think now, particularly with the weather in Sydney, a lot more people are going, from a ceremony perspective, are going artificial flowers, because you get that magnificent look, and you don't have to worry about the fact that, it's 40 degrees one day and windy. Like today is so windy. You've really got to be careful with the flowers that you're using in a ceremony on windy and hot days, because they just get tired looking. So
No, absolutely. And I've always admired the fact that florists are this sort of, I would say, the unsung heroes of it all. You set this vibe, as I talked about before, but the amount of work that goes into the planning, and then of course the bump in times, which most of the time we may cross paths, we may not, depending on sort of the ability for you to be around and what the size of the setup is, etc. And then I often will see the florist at the end of the night, because I'm always there at the end as well. But you've got this sort of on-call period where you can't go to sleep yet, because you got to go back over, and then there's obviously the putting away parts, and then there's the waking up in the early morning on a Monday to go to the florist markets and so forth. So like, what's the behind the scenes aspect? What is it? This constant anxious sort of field, melodrama, or is it, what's the kind of the challenges that couples probably don't know about, that can help them appreciate the work that you do more?
I think that I think the more you talk to the couples, the more of an appreciation they do have, because most people know that you have a team of people that assist you, and so for me as a sole trader, they are my freelance florists. But of course, I will always do bump out, because it's my responsibility, and the other thing is, I don't want any accidents or anything, because people have been up for so long, and then they're still going at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. So I think for couples, they do see you. They see, and it's funny, because they see you at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, when you're giving them the buttonholes and helping the gentleman, learn how to put them on. And then you've got the bouquets, and making sure that they like their bouquets, and everybody knows which one's theirs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they know then that you're going to the church, and then you're going, or the ceremony, and then you're going to the reception. And usually reception is quite tight with what you have to put in at what's going to the reception, and how long you've got to set up. And also now with the ceremony recycling of flowers, it's even tighter. So I will say to the venue, you won't see me until 4:30, 5 o'clock, because I have to wait for the ceremony to finish to cut off the flowers and move them to the reception.
But don't freak out though, I will be there.
Yeah. I always say that, because I know for them it's 4:30, they want the room ready to go. Like, so and so that's
it is becoming that sort of tight thing now. And even I must admit, I've even had those kind of moments until someone said, "Oh, they're recycling." I go, "Okay, cool, yeah, no worries."
Yes.
But at the same time, because obviously a lot more couples now wanting to do in-venue shots, it's probably about I'd say about 75% of my couples are wanting in-venue, both for off-site and on-site weddings. And so it's that time factor must be incredibly stressful.
Yeah, and because you're and it's from an anxiety perspective as well, you're ready to go, but you can't necessarily, like, obviously I'm not going to be rude and hurry people along, but we've had some fantastic stories of where you've had like there's one down at Mossman venue, and they do lunch setting. So you have to wait for the lunch setting, and then you're allowed to go in to the florist, because they've flipped the room. So then you have to wait for the room to be flipped. And so we had the ladies, the older Mossman ladies, and they were there and they weren't moving. And in the end, I'm like, what's 3 o'clock, ladies? It's starting at 5. Like, so let's go. And so then they were intrigued about the wedding, and so that was even funnier, because they're like, oh, look at these beautiful flowers, and they're all standing there. And so you don't want to be rude, because that vintage of lady, incredible stories and incredible women. You know what I mean? And this is their Friday lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they've got to the venue and they're having a lovely time. And so then you had to then sit there and they were asking you all different questions about the wedding and all the different colors and looking at all the flowers and asking about the centerpieces. And so, yeah, by the time we got in there, like I think I must have lost about 5 kilos running.
Oh, I can imagine.
We're running. Let's go. We're running. And so, yeah, so things like that. We've been to another one under the Harbour Bridge where there was another florist in another room, and not showing my age, but they are probably 25 years younger than I. And she had like 2 or 3 of them, and they were so organized. They were having a picnic on the grounds because they'd done everything, because their room had nobody in it previously. And so I said to my fellow florist, how do we get to this? Where you're so organized that you're sitting there having morning tea, coffees and muffins, and they're so relaxed and having a lovely chat. And my friend and I were literally running, like, out of the way quickly, because we had such strict bump-in times.
Yeah, I know the place you're talking about, and it definitely doesn't. It's not kind. No, not because of the operation it is and where it is and the location. Yeah, it's not a kind place.
Oh, it's just incredible. Like, yeah, those, and they're funny stories. But yeah, that's the behind the scenes. And to make it is all to make the day perfect for the bride and groom. There's been vendors where they've had to move the chairs from upstairs to downstairs to upstairs because the bride kept changing her mind whether she was having the ceremony inside or outside. And the gentleman said to me, this is the last time I'm moving these chairs. I go, it won't be if she asks you to.
I do know coordinators though that are like, nope, we have a policy. You make one choice, and that is it. We're sticking to it. It is a wild world, and I can appreciate 100% your passion behind everything you say. And I obviously I'm dealing with a whole other set of challenges that I know can equate, but certainly, we sort of work in tandem. You take care of, as you said, the beginning, and then I'm there for right in the middle, the part of it. And a lot of us other vendors are there, and then you just tying that little bow off to make sure that everything has been 100% completed, and that you can then obviously sustain to the next day. And so it is quite a big operation. I'm so glad you're able to paint that picture for those listening, because it definitely isn't just going to a field, picking pretty flowers, and then going, okay, this will do, and then just going home, so counting your dollars in the bathtub or something while they're having a wedding. Well, honestly, Claire, we have such little time left. I could definitely keep this going for double the length of time with you, but I just want to ask a couple last bit of stuff, and then I'll find out how people can get access to you and then to be able to have your wonderful passion and talent at their wedding. First question is, how do you said you're a mum, how do you balance that? Like, just what is the one biggest sort of hack that you use to balance being sole trader and mum and this amazing florist, successful business owner?
You have to have a great support team around you. So I have my parents and my husband, and so obviously they help me, but also as they've got older, to include them in the business so that they know where you're going and they know that you're not just disappearing for half a weekend, but also to if you do have downtime, like, because if you don't have back-to-back weddings every Saturday, to make sure that you are spending that quality time I've got 2 boys, with the boys, to make up for when you're not here. But yeah, definitely including them in the business so that they know your passion, and they know that this is how, this is mummy's job, and this is how I make money for us to, go on holidays or go to the movies or go to sushi or whatever. But also that I think it also teaches them a work ethic of, customer service. Like, I've always had a very, very big passion for customer service. And so it's teaching them about work ethic. And I'm still up at 11:30 because I have to go and pick up my things. But also you see me at 4:30 on a Thursday, go to the flower markets. And that's all part of it. That's all part of the journey to make sure that the wedding day is magnificent for the particular bride and groom on that Saturday. So so they see that. Yeah. They really see
that.
it.
And why do you do what you do? Like, what is just the first thing that comes to mind about, like, why do you play with flowers all day?
I've always loved flowers, and I've always liked working in retail, and I think and I've always wanted my own business. So I think that those three key things, when you're, and it's creative, I think that's like, it's your something that belongs to you, and that's got your name to it, and you can pivot, yourself with pivoting. That you, like during COVID, we lost all our weddings pretty much in 2 days. And so so working with, if we're not going to, as because my background is also teaching, so like doing workshops, online, or what else, pivoting to preserved flowers when preserved flowers were a big thing, moving into corporate floristry, we're now trying to, which is very hard to get into, but moving into funeral floristry as well, because that's an amazing thing to give people flowers at that stage of of people's lives as well, and being individualized flowers. So I think it's the passion of being creative and having your own business, and then knowing what people want, and learning, like constantly learning, like new things, new trends. So that, I think that's
couldn't agree more. Definitely the recipe, the ingredients for a fantastic business as you've created. So I would love for people to find out exactly how they can find you and connect with you, and experience your Olympic grade standard of floristry at their wedding.
Yeah, so we've got a website, so www.bellafiore.com.au. You can find us at Bella Fiore Flowers on Instagram, and Bella Fiore Floral Designs on Facebook. And all our contact details are on our website. So I would love to hear from people. And even if, I think what also makes us a little different from others is if you've got questions, but you don't end up going with us, we're happy to answer your questions, because people have a lot of questions, but then they feel funny asking them sometimes. And so we're happy for people to reach out and go, what do you think about this? Or I really want to do my own flowers, but I'm unsure what to do. And so we answer a lot of those types of questions as well. So
love it. I absolutely love it. Well, Claire, thank you so much for your insights. You're a font of knowledge and passion, and I genuinely look forward to the next wedding we work together. And I'll absolutely. And thank you so much for joining us here. And I hope one day you get to do another Olympics or a Commonwealth Games. That'd be fantastic.
I know, that would be great. Thank you so much for having me on the program today. It's fantastic. And we've worked together a couple of times. So it's amazing the people that you meet in our industry. And I think that's what makes it fantastic as well. So thank you.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Just As Planned Wedding Podcast. Please like and subscribe to let me know that you want more videos just like this one. And of course, please follow us on our socials at Just As Planned Wedding on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more expert insights to help your wedding go just as planned.